Where God choose somebody and you go against that person, you punish yourself. You punish yourself. We all will remain here. Now, not find way to go surrender for the people. They will not fool them. They go into prison. They remain there when I be create other government for back. Anyone say na me I get for B. Anyone say na me I get for B. Begin can call people their name for here. If Milan not be make call the meeting, who be call the meeting? They be tell you say na Milan be call the meeting. Wicked set of people. I mean, can make a thing for here. It's shown for now. When I carry and put out Facebook, so that mean they kill the woman. I don't know which people they bring all that trash where I don't come out live for sukami. That they bring and pack inside here. People they don't know direction, where did they go, where did they come. I don't know who they can pack inside here. I think I will just delete myself too for here because I don't want nonsense. Now this kind of thing them way when I do when I say when I go before. Argument. After Milan be tip money, after Milan be do this. Why Sisi could be herself for be president? I like say if they be appoint somebody for all of una, when I want for be president. No one Ambazonia way they for appoint you for deny. No one. Talk the truth and shame the devil. Jealousy now they keep me for here. Jealousy now they keep me for here. Oh, na me I must be. Oh, na me I must be. Now go down with the go down. So go down with the go down. Thank God for the Milanata where you know the sleep.
I think it's a good question.
Now, at least we'll get federation than for go surrender to Paul Bia. Thank God for you. When I go cry, go up, cry, calm down, call in him. When man pass you, carry it back, you the fool. Carry it back. What you don't do for this struggle? What you don't do for this struggle? What you don't create a pass, you go hang for somebody's butt. Say na your leader. You don't create someone. Every day when I go bring a yoke name, when I know the figure out how it come over the hole, when I don't dig, when I say put up, when I criticize people, when I know you go forward. I hope the day for prison. Milan go stay when I how many years you know the talk. When I see what I call your name for no nothing. For go before when I know they go, I be don't tell when I would all remain for here. Where God choose somebody and you go against that person, you punish yourself. You punish yourself. We all will remain here. Now, not find way to go surrender for the people. They will not fool them. They go into prison. They remain there when I be create other government for back. Anyone say na me I get for B. Anyone say na me I get for B. Begin can call people their name for here. If Milan not be make call the meeting, who be call the meeting? You they be tell you say na Milan be call the meeting. So if they be call Milan, say me come to for that meeting because they not will not be the glad say me Milan to go for prison. Shame don't hold now. Shame. Wicked set of people. I mean, can make a thing for here. It's shown for now. When I carry and put out Facebook, so that mean they kill the woman. Very wicked set of people. It God punish all of una. When I get evil for our spirit. We get call innocent people the way they do for prison, they suffer for scouna. If when I be not saying so when I why would I be even start saying when I start for fight for a country when I don't know how to fight for a country? Fools, useless idiot them. We get call Amila Atine. They will bite your tongue one day. Aliman. That thing where I will be don't talk. Someone will not go blind for this country. Any place there you go blind. Example don't show for patch, you know. Now say go happen for all of one. Useless people, idiots. Every day they call somebody name with Milan don't even get time for you. You even know you, talk like you. Milan get for know you. You fool. I don't know. Man, when you carry that trash for that second piggy pack for inside here. Who tell you that say when you want for begin listen that when a foolish thing they wanna make up for this? Today you're there for Cristiano, tomorrow you're there for Sako, tomorrow you're there for Cristiano, today you're there for Sako. Whose side you stand? You animal. Will I never be president? Eh? That's us. Ayababi talk the boast. When our own day will break one day, animals kill us.
Welcome back to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. And right now, we're about to go to Cameroon. Yes, beyond borders, as I told you. So let me give you a quick overview. The history of southern Cameroon and the Ambazonians. Remember? Or should I say, the liberation of the Ambazonian, the struggle. It began when southern Cameroon was a British mandate and later voted to join French-speaking Cameroon in 1961, forming the Federal Republic of Cameroon. However, in 1972, the federation was dissolved and the Anglophone population began facing increasing marginalization. By 2016, protests had erupted against the central government's policies, which led to the declaration of the Ambazonian independence in 2017. This declaration of independence sparked a violent conflict that continues still today, with thousands of lives lost and many displaced. Since then, significant efforts have been made to address the situation, but the conflict continues, resulting in thousands of lives and many displaced. Now, I have three very, very, very important guests with me today. I have with me Milan Atam. He's the chairman, Southern Cameroon Alliance. I also have with me, I'm trying to remember, I have to try and remember the names. Gideon Asanji, who is the pro-independence caucus. And then I have Peter Atemkeng, who is the first vice president of the Federalist Caucus. Now, why is this important? Why is it important for me to have all three of them with me? Because something incredibly interesting is about to happen. There's about to be a summit, and it's the first time these groups have gotten together. Gentlemen, welcome to Borderlines.
Thank you so much, Ireti. Thanks for having us on Borderline.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you. You know, Cameroonians are our cousins, really, especially the Ambazonians. So it's critical that we do continue to discuss, because people forget what's going on over there. Every time they only hear about, they hear about Paul Biya, right? They forget that there's so much going on with the Ambazonians. Atem Keng, did I correct it, Peter? Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, excellent. And Gideon, welcome.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, we do our best on Borderlines. Everybody's important. Now, Milian, let me come to you. There's about to be a summit. Tell us why this summit is so important. Or am I coming to Gideon? Who am I coming to? Which one of you is going to tell me what is important about this summit and what it's about?
Okay, maybe I can take that, Ireti.
Okay, go ahead, Milian.
So we have had a conflict that has been raging since late 2016. And in the process, as Southern Cameroonians, we have had serious difficulties uniting in our quest. Like you've seen from the panel, we've got a panel that's made up of pro-independence as well as pro-federalists. What we don't have on this panel is those who are for one Cameroon, who want to, or what we call unionists. And so in lots of ways, we have not been able to be collaborative in our efforts. And this has weakened whatever efforts we have in place.
Yeah.
The idea of the summit has been to bring the different schools of the different philosophical schools to say, yes, we've got differences. However, we are all victims of the same historical injustice. And as a result, it's important that we get together, we talk to each other, we overcome our differences and look at what unites us. So this summit is basically bringing the leaders, and like without the leaders, it's a summit that is it's a movement that is.
Hold on, Milan. Can you hear that? Can you hear that interference?
No.
Okay,
I can hear you very well.
So it's on our side. Please hold on, because I can't hear you. There's a huge interference. Okay. Right, try again, Milian, perhaps.
Okay, so I was just concluding, just so I don't take much time.
It's starting again.
Maybe it's me.
No,
let's
it's
see if Gideon or Peter.
Yeah, okay, let's try one of the other gentlemen. Maybe they can take off from where you are.
Yeah.
Gideon, can you continue so we know whether it's Milian's line or not?
Oh, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, but it's not your line. It's from our side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are we getting the same result?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. It's really, it's really bad. Oh, this is really bad. No, I'm sorry, because we're losing time from this, and this is critically important. Okay, let's see. It's my ears that will suffer, so I want you to continue. Hopefully, the listeners won't hear what's happening in my ear. Hopefully, so go ahead.
Okay, so Ireti, we have a summit that brings together the leaders of the different philosophical schools to look at key issues that concern our people. The one is the security and well-being of the people who have won the brunt of this conflict since 2017. The second is to look at the issues of governance to which we have been victims over the past 60 years. And the third is just to look at how much as a people we can together collaborate and work together in spite of our differences.
Okay,
So
I am being told, sorry to interrupt you, Milian. I'm being told that we may have to take a break for a couple of minutes, so this can be fixed. Because it's really bad. I understand they can hear it. Our listeners can also hear it, although you can't. Give us a few minutes. IT are trying to fix it. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right. Welcome back. Hopefully we fix that issue. Milan, Gideon, and Peter,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, yes. Sorry. Milan, may I ask you to kind of start all of that, because we lost so much. It was really bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was talking about the summit.
Yeah.
I was talking about the summit, which is a leadership summit of the Southern Cameroon's Caucuses. Over the past 7-8 years, as you may probably know, our people have been faced with vicious conflict that has taken lives. It has displaced millions of people and hundreds of thousands as well externally. What has happened is that we have not really been talking to each other. You can see from the panel, you have those who are for independence, those who are for federalism, others are even happy with the relationship with Yaoundé. And what that means is that we have not been united as a people. That notwithstanding, we understand that the issues we face are the same. When they send the military to go and brutalize the people and burn down villages, they do not choose the federalists or the independentists. They burn the village with everybody. So we found it necessary to put aside our difference, look at what unites us. And if there is a single thread that unites us, is the fact that we are all victims of a historical injustice as Southern Cameroonians.
Right.
That is the beginning point. So the summit brings together the leaders of these different schools of thought to say, how can we work together collaboratively on behalf of our people who are suffering, and put aside our differences. Part of that is not to convince or persuade anybody to leave aside their political philosophy, but rather to mutually respect, and most of all, put the interest of our people at the forefront.
Okay.
That's basically what the summit is about.
Okay, excellent. So that's what makes it so important.
Absolutely.
I've got to ask though, how were you, given that everybody, the three groups were coming at things from different angles, how were you able to actually come to this consensus? Let me ask Peter. Peter, are you there? I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Milan, I think the idea came from Cameroon. One of the groups that he heads, and they accepted that the best way to go is to make sure that every Southern Cameroonian is involved. That is why they found that there are three groups: the independentists, the federalists, and those who don't mind sitting with Yaoundé in a decentralized state. So Milan contacted us because those of us who are in the federalist group, we are in a group in a well-structured organization called the Coalition of Cameroon Federalist Groups and Activists, the CCFGA.
Right.
So Milan contacted us and we accepted to work with him. So when we worked with him, he also brought the unionists and the independentists together, and we signed that MOU. We tried to state the MOU in a language which accommodates all of us, which concentrates only on the problem which we face all as a people. And then from there we can now see how we can approach the solution in a way that comforts, in a language which does not put the other one group in a disadvantage. So that's the main reason why we are organizing this summit in this upcoming summit, so as to convince the people back in the country, our citizens of former Southern Cameroons, to convince them that it is possible, whether you are a unionist or a federalist or an independentist, we can still talk, we can still operate together. So right. if that summit is successful, it will give a message to the people that they also can come together and push for an autonomy of the Southern Cameroons.
Okay, thank you. So Gideon, let me come to you. It sounds, how should I say, utopic, right? Because of course, if everybody works together, that's the expectation. If everybody works together, then we can bring everybody together and we can all face one common enemy because everybody's suffering together and stuff. But there is one common enemy. That's Paul Biya. How do you propose to actually, from this summit, deal with the Paul Biya factor? Gideon. You have to unmute, I'm afraid. You haven't unmuted yet.
Oh, Lord. Thank you so much. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I want to say thank you, to the previous speakers. I think they kind of summarized the essence of the summit. And it is, for me, I would say, from a pro-independence point of view, I see this opportunity as a pivotal moment here in our struggle, because it marks a shift, from activism to a structured leadership shape of our people. For decades, our people have fought against all types of marginalization, systemic oppression, and outright military occupation by the La République du Cameroon. However, as a people, just like the two previous speakers have said, we recognize that resistance alone is not enough. We need to establish a clear, unified strategy for achieving, our, ultimate goal, which is total independence from where I'm standing. Let me say, somebody like my brother Temken is looking at it for us to achieve that self-governance. he wants to go through the path of, he preferred to go through the path of federation. But to us, we believe that total independence one time without, back and forth. Now, this summit, is happening now because the political landscape in Cameroon is also changing, with Paul Biya, the dictator Paul Biya's regime nearing its, inevitable end. We must prepare as a people for what comes next. So we believe that Cameroon is facing political uncertainty, and history has shown that transition periods periods offer great opportunities for oppressed nations to assert, their sovereignty. This is why the leadership summit is so crucial, and it provides a platform for us to forge alliance, refine our approach, and ensure that Ambazonia is well positioned to claim its rightful place as an independent nation. So that's what I would like to say with respect to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gideon. Milan, I've got to come to you as the one who brought everybody together, so we can hold you responsible for this collective relationship and the collective focus. Peter had mentioned earlier that there was a signing of an MOU. However, 9 out of 10 times we do know that when, when unions come together, if you like, as a collective, and they do sign an MOU, things can tend to fall apart, that the center cannot hold together. So, tell us, what mechanism do you have in place to ensure that voices of the grassroots community are adequately represented, right? But even more so to ensure that this coalition doesn't fall apart, to make sure it can't be infiltrated, if you like, by the common enemy.
Yeah, very pertinent points you've raised, Ireti. We do recognize, and this is something that we were able to put together the past 7 years, about 7 years ago, where we were able to bring together the frontline leaders. It's true that at that point it was strictly pro-independence, but like you said, it got infiltrated, it got completely shattered, and today everything is in shambles. So you are very right. Let me start when it comes to bringing together these different caucuses. Let me start by saying it's not the work of one person. I want to congratulate and commend once again the work that has been put by these leaders who are on the platform with me, by the civil society caucus that we have not mentioned. And in the case of the civil society caucus, and I think that answers your question, it's been made up of members of the civil society. It's been headed by a reverend, a priest. It's members of the NGO community, community-based organizations. It's the members of the traditional authority and so on. So we're bringing together a very large spectrum of people from the civil society who form one caucus. So when we talk about the caucuses, it's the civil society caucus, it's the pro-independence caucus, and it is the pro-federalist caucus. To make sure that there is representation and representativity at all levels across the strata. Now, when it comes to the challenges you talk about, I have to say they remain a challenge that are ours to face together. You're very right. The first thing is just an MOU. We've signed a memorandum of understanding. It's just a piece of paper, unless we make it something concrete. Then we are going to have a summit. It's just another meeting. It's just another conference, unless we make it meaningful. But I think the real work and the real challenge will come after the summit, when we have to start looking at real concrete issues. It's the people on the ground, the security and safety of our people. It's ensuring that we find more creative ways and peaceful ways to get an end to the conflict. You asked a question earlier about Paul Biya and how we're going to confront him. Gideon answered part of the question. And like he said, Paul Biya is on his one leg in the grave. And this gives an opportunity. It's going to be a period of transition. As a people, we need to be having a conversation to say, how do we position ourselves? What are the different scenarios when Paul Biya goes? Is it going to be a coup d'etat? Is it going to be a takeover by his son, like is historically the situation in Africa? Is it going to be a democratic transition? What is the position of the Southern Cameroons vis-a-vis all these different possibilities? And of course, the elections which are coming up in October, for which we don't necessarily agree as caucuses. The Federalist Caucus is very strong that the people need to mobilize and go for elections. The Independentist Caucus thinks it's a waste of time because Paul Biya has always rigged the elections. So what's the use of going for elections? We need to overcome all these differences and find a way where everybody finds themselves as being, we may not have 100% victory, but at least everybody finds their voice in what we are trying to do. And the alliance team that has been behind this has been working day and night, from communication, political education, sensitizing our people, just to make sure that on all the sides there is understanding. It takes time, it's difficult, but we hope and we pray.
Well, yes, in Africa we do pray, but some will tell you God already gave us the skills. Let's start using them and leave prayer aside. But yeah, thank you so much for that, Milan. Peter, let me come to you. It's interesting. Gideon said something earlier, which I wrote it down. I wrote down beyond activism. It's that beyond activism that I would like you to talk to us about, because, of course, Milian just mentioned about the election coming up. There is an expectation that Paul Biya, well, what is it? He's some crazy years old. Every so often, we hear that Paul Biya is dead, and then he's not dead. In fact, all across Africa, they start to celebrate and think the Cameroonians are going to be free. But then the man shows face again, and, you know, he's actually not dead. So, given this election that's happening in October, given the independence struggle, when Gideon said beyond activism, how does the coalition actually take position? Let's imagine this election is going to happen. How do you take position beyond this activism after the summit? How do you take position and begin to drive and get the international community to work with you on, you know, the policies and the solutions that you would like?
Yeah, first of all, let me say that a knowledge of a problem is half the solution. We know the stakes that are on the ground. We know what is happening. What we do is try to take action to overcome those obstacles that face us. Yes, we are talking about the elections, and as Gideon said, at all times, the Biya regime will rig it. That's the only way they stay in power, by rigging elections. And they are going to do that. They have already started. We are seeing it. The difference is that we are already seeing some of the rigging machinations, and we are already attacking it. We can't say what will happen, but we have our own actions that we are putting in place that we have never put in place before. And we will see what those actions can produce. And some of those actions, as our Federalist Caucus is doing, we will put that, we'll write that out. We'll make that out in a message and get the rest of the other caucuses to read and understand. They may not go with it, but we have agreed in the MOU that each of the caucuses can follow their strategies. So we will follow our own strategies, but we will make them know the strategies as we are going. The only thing we expect is that none of the other two caucuses should interfere. That's the agreement of the MOU, that they should not interfere, but they should lead the advantage they can pick from the strategy of one caucus. So if we give our strategies, if we make out our strategies, the other two strategies, they should only go into it and see what they can pick as an advantage and be happy with it, or even work with it. And we should, the Federalist strategy should make sure that it does not interfere in the other strategies. So those are the mechanisms inside that MOU. And when you express fear that MOUs like this keep forming around the world and they collapse from time to time, they get infiltrated and they collapse, that is a knowledge that we have. and that knowledge is 50% of the solution. That is to say, we have decided to stay together and stick together and make sure that this thing goes to a resolution. As far as the summit is concerned, I heard Milan talk about it. My vision for the summit is that that summit should impact the ground. That summit should impact the citizens on the ground who are feeling the pinch of the marginalization, the people who are feeling the pinch of the conflict that has been happening. That summit has to have an impact. That summit should come out with a message that shows that we are in solidarity with them, and we can devise strategies that will unite them together and push them to go forward. That is the vision that we have in mind. And we will try to coin that strategy in a language which we hope and expect that the pro-independence caucus will not find fault with it, so that the unionist caucus will not.
We seem to have a problem with your bandwidth. Yeah. Let me go to. We have a problem with your bandwidth on Peter on your side. Let me go to Gideon, because we're fast. The time is fast running away from us.
I think the network from Peter is having an issue.
Yeah, Gideon, let's talk about referendum, right? It has been said that, a significant portion that responded to a UN-sponsored referendum said, they would like to see a referendum. Would there be a referendum? Does the coalition, subscribe to the idea of a referendum as part of the way forward?
Oh, absolutely. The referendum, it's something that at the end of the day, any sensible person or individual will be thinking of when it comes to the people of the Southern Cameroons. So the importance of something like that at the end of the day will be how the process is conducted for the most part. I think we as a people, we've kind of have a fake referendum, so to speak, by the international community, so much so that is what has gotten us to a place like this. So something like a referendum will be something that our people will receive with open arms at every given point in time. But the process, the essence, the key word is who takes part and how that process is affected on the ground is what is very important when it comes to a referendum.
Exactly. So, which brings me to my follow-up question still to you is, yes, under a poor beer, because we can't keep escaping from the poor beer factor. It's a huge factor. Under the Paul Biya administration, how is a referendum possible?
Thank you very much for the question. When it comes to a referendum, it means there's a third party. There is going to be a third party, maybe third, fourth, whatever it is. I mean, a body like the United Nations and other, interested nations, international community, probably Nigeria, probably South Africa, or other, international stakeholders like that. Yeah. So in that, it will not depend on Paul Biya alone. It will depend on the international community and the government of La Republique du Cameroon and our people making the decisions on how the referendum is going to take place. And with something like that, I believe even my position and that of Mr. Peter Atemken or Milan will not count. What will count at the end of the day will be the voices of the people of Southern Cameroon. So let me put it in this way. If at the end of the day, a referendum is held and the people vote unanimously for outright independence, there is no way Mr. Peter Temken or Milan will be able to even come out somewhere any day to want to talk about federation or any other thing. It's the same thing. If the people decide that tomorrow in a referendum that is legitimate, that is transparent, and we see that the people have decided that they want to do federation with La République du Cameroon, there'll be no way for me to talk anymore because we have all have the proof that this is what the people said. That is why it is very important that me, the pro-independence caucus, the federalists, and any other voices in Southern Cameroon should be able to speak as one voice. It goes back to the essence of why we are trying to talk to each other as a people in this summit. So thank you very much. Very important question. I don't know if Milan or Mr. Peter had something to add with respect to that particular question, because it's very, very important.
Thank you so much. I'm going to come to Milan now. And, it's funny how Gideon has a way of segueing me to my next question. He mentioned Nigeria. My next question was Nigeria. Right.
Yes.
Right in the middle of Nigeria. Well, Nigeria is in the middle of this because, number one, we are the current leaders heading the ECOWAS. And number two, you are our brothers on the border. Firstly, tell me something. What impact or what help has Nigeria been so far? That's number one. Number two is we have Honorable Minister Yusuf Tuga, who is our new foreign minister or Minister of Foreign Affairs. Has there been a conversation with him at all? Because he seems a lot more active than the previous minister, I have to say, with regards to foreign affairs. So give us the Nigeria impact and what we're doing. What if we've been any use, Papa? Tell the truth.
Let's start with Ireti. Just organizing an interview like this is very important because it doesn't talk to only our people. It opens up to the Nigerian public about what is going on, what our people are going through. But whether we like it or not, Nigeria is a stakeholder in this issue, has always been, because prior to 1960, when the plebiscite took place, 1960-1961, the Southern Cameroons, as we know it, was governed as part of Nigeria, as part of the Enugu House of Assembly. So there is a long history, has always been. But over the past 60 years, Nigeria has been a brother, always our people, the trade that happens. But coming to this particular conflict, like I said, there are thousands of our people who are currently being hosted by Nigeria. That is already very important. The second thing, and whether you like, I know sometimes we get very upset with the Nigerian government for this abduction of our leaders from Nigeria to Cameroon.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that later.
We also need to recognize that the Nigerian government has always been sympathetic to our cause. A lot of people don't know that. From the days of Obasanjo, as we know it, the Bakassi conflict, and what is not being said very often is the fact that French Cameroon and this obsession with our territory, not our people, they don't care about us, our territory is all based on the oil and the gas that we happen to be hosting in that region, the Gulf of Guinea. As you know, the conflict around Bakassi with Nigeria was basically not because French Cameroon was interested in the people who lived in Bakassi. It was all about the natural resources which are there. So Nigeria has always played a role. We understand, and we've been talking about it, that in spite of what has happened in the past, we have a responsibility of going back to the Nigerian government and have a conversation to say, in fact, when we set up our leaders who were in Nigeria, when we decided to set up in Nigeria, the plan was to set up a secretariat and have a conversation with the Nigerian authorities in a respectful manner to say, our people are in Nigeria, we have a representation here, we need you to recognize that representation as being that of the people of the Southern Cameroons. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the point where that could be established, and French Cameroon was able to quickly bundle our people and move to Yaoundé. Now, there is a new government in place. it is our intention to talk to this government. And like Gideon was saying, when it comes to the referendum and other issues, we intend to talk to the international community, like we have been doing anyway. But for us to do that, it is important, first of all, that we constitute ourselves in a manner that says when we speak, we can speak on behalf of our people. The past 7-8 years, it's been difficult to go out and talk to anybody when they ask the question, so who are you representing? And you can't really say with confidence because you are only representing a small fraction. Well, not a small fraction, but not necessarily the whole. So in as much as we have the caucuses, we may not agree on a lot of things. I can tell you, for instance, that if you ask this question to Peter, Peter will tell you that he doesn't want us to take this thing to any foreign government. Let's keep it in Cameroon. It's an internal issue. That is okay because that's his position. But the bottom line is no issues are internal anymore. When you have mass displacements of people, mass destruction of property, villages burned, people incarcerated in thousands, it no longer remains an internal issue. It's an international human rights issue that the international community must get involved. And so we cannot escape. Nigeria is definitely a brother that we have always looked up to, that we will look up to. We will never find a solution to this problem if Nigeria is not involved one way or the other. That we know.
Thank you. Right, you can call, I know, your Nigerian brothers, the listeners, Cameroonian brothers, the ones in the diaspora will possibly have questions for you. 0201-277-0993. And the female-only line is 0201-465-7190. You can send, and you should have been sending WhatsApp messages or questions on WhatsApp to 0809-597-5805. And they have already started calling. And I still have questions for my guest. I told you, once I open up the line, my co-host start calling. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Chief Ambassador, good evening, ma.
Oh, good evening, Chief Minister. How are you?
Yeah, good evening to all our guests.
Yes.
I'm so happy with the last speaker.
Milan.
He said something. Hello, ma.
Yes, I can hear you. His name is Milan.
He said something which I'm happy about.
Okay.
Said they are looking up to Nigeria. Despite all we are going through in Nigeria, I'm happy that Cameroon are still looking up to us to do something about what they are passing through. I thank God for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief Minister. Right, you can call, but before you call, or you can call. Oh, okay. Bear with me. Hello. 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 Okay. Right. So let me ask you, who do I go to now? Although, Peter, perhaps I should ask you to add a few words to what Milan just said, because he did mention you specifically. Yes. He said you might have something different to say. You might disagree with him. So let me give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, and you too, Gideon. Okay. So I'll come to Peter first, 2 minutes. Gideon, 2 minutes before I move on to my next question. So, Peter, you first.
Yeah, so I just want to respond to two issues.
Yes.
Gideon raised the question of referendum. Fine. I can make it clear here that we in the Federalist Caucus, if a referendum were to happen, we would take part in that referendum and we will want separation. We will want independence. It is clear if a referendum were to be set up. But we in the Federalist Caucus, we understand that no regime sitting in power will allow a referendum that will split what he calls his country. No, the beer government, for example, will not allow.
Right.
So, and the international community knows that whatever the international community wants to do, it has to pass through the regime of beer. So, for the question of referendum, we will go in for separation, for independence, if it were to come. But in the Federal Caucus, we say that we know that it will not come. That's why we're using the route we are using. Then the second thing that Milan raised, I think he said that
Nigeria.
No, not Nigeria. He said that we don't think that it is an international issue. We think that it's an internal issue. The international, we in the Federalist Caucus, we have written to the Commonwealth several times. We have written to the United Nations several times. we deal with the international community too, because we know what role they can play. But we in the Federalist Caucus, we believe that, first of all, we must have an impact on the ground. The international community cannot interfere if they don't see us working on the ground. That is why we accepted this collaboration with all the different caucuses, so that we should have an impact on the ground. The people, the international community should see that we are the people. That is when they can come in. So we believe in the international community too. But we know that it must first start with us working and making the population knows that we are working for them and working with us. That's when the international community can step in. Otherwise, they will just continue to play their games as they are doing up to now, because the international community is not showing any interest.
Right.
So those are the positions of the Federalist Caucus in terms of the referendum and in terms of the international community.
Thank you very much. Gideon, let me come to you. 2 minutes. The lines are going wild already. 2 minutes.
2 minutes, I think that'll be okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. When it comes to our relationship with Nigeria, it's a little bit complicated one. I think Milan was a little bit too friendly. Generous, so to speak. Thank you. That's the right word. I would say Nigeria's role in Southern Cameroon's struggle has been very complicated. That I must say. To be honest, it's been mixed of silence, missed opportunities, at times actions that have been very, very disappointed to our people. Let's not forget, I think Milan touched this part. Southern Cameroon was, once administered by Britain as part of Nigeria. We have historical, cultural, economic ties with Nigeria, especially across the border. In Ikok and, in Ikom, some of the languages that are spoken in the border languages, the border people from Nigeria and our people, they speak and understand each other.
Yeah.
So naturally, many Ambazonians suspected that Nigerians would at least play a more supportive, natural role in this crisis. Unfortunately, that hasn't always been the case. One of the most painful examples of Nigeria's failure was in January 2018, when Nigeria, that every time I think about it, I feel like crying. Nigeria violated international law and human rights laws by arresting and handing over our very, very cherished leaders of at a time, including our incident president, Sisiko Ayoktabe, and his team from Nigeria. These were men that were
10 university professors that were
10 university professors
from Abuja to Cameroon. Go ahead.
Yes. These were people who were legally present in Nigeria.
Yes.
As refugees or asylum seekers.
Yes.
Instead of protecting them, the Nigerian government allowed itself to be used by France and La Republique or as a tool of oppression. That is one of the things that sometimes I think about and I say, oh boy. But beyond that, Nigeria has largely, remained silent or passive. Okay. Even though we know thousands and maybe millions of Southern Cameroonians, are moved to Nigeria because of the crisis, and they have been taken care of. We have NGOs and all that within the space of Nigeria trying to see that we can help, and Nigerians have also helped us to be able to support our people who have migrated there because of the crisis.
Okay.
So I think other than that, Nigeria has been very, very lukewarm, and to the nail that they put in our coffin. Yeah, I would say most people pro-independence will tell you. Yeah. Yes, most people pro-independent or pro-independent caucus will tell you, if Sisiko and team were not illegally arrested or kidnapped and taken to Cameroon, this struggle would have almost ended. Yeah, with less people dead. Yeah, by now.
Excellent.
Thank
The
you.
lines are going crazy. We only have like what, 6 minutes left or so? 4 minutes left. I still have questions. Gentlemen, you've got to come back. I actually wished I had brought you in 30 minutes earlier now, because I could have had that option. I did have that option. It just didn't occur to me, so forgive me. I have a message here from Ayo. Thanks, Peter, Milan, and Gideon. How can opposition be united in Cameroon to achieve the purpose? Okay, that's one. And then I'm going to answer the calls very quickly, 30 seconds. Hello. Titi Lokwe, 30 seconds, very quickly, very quickly.
Thank you.
Speak up louder.
Tell them pointedly, Nigeria will never support the association plan.
Why?
Nigeria is going through some similar problems here. And doing that for them would mean that Nigeria would be encouraging other people, even though it is within their international rights.
Right.
Or, the self-determination.
Okay.
That's one. Number two, the problem I see with them, there's a man called Coney. He was the former spokesperson of the Ambazonia. Later he declared himself as the president. He speaks all the time from America.
Titi Lokwe, you're taking up my time. Hurry up.
But the truth is that they themselves, they are not united. They are not united. They are not
But that's
united.
what we're saying now. We're saying this united now.
No.
Titi Lokwe, we don't have time.
Somaliland.
Uh-huh.
As long Somaliland has been away for more than 30 years. Yeah, they don't have that sovereignty power.
Okay.
Same thing we try to do when they had their own. They don't have that.
You need to call earlier, Tokwe. I need Titi Lokwe. I need to go. Bless you. Right. One last question, and then I'll give you all 1 minute, 30 seconds each. Hello.
Evening,
very quickly. Yes, very quickly, Emmanuel.
I'm speaking to you from a place. Have you ever crossed their mind, that they joining Nigeria would be better?
Okay, good question.
One of your guests said they have a new government in Yaoundé. Now, is it that the president, has been ousted?
No. I think you misheard him. Okay, let me go. We have no time. Literally, I'm sorry, Emmanuel. I need to cut you off. Right, gentlemen, I'm going to give you 30 seconds each because we've got to go. They're going to throw me off air. Right? I think the most important question there is, have you ever thought of joining Nigeria? Number one, I'll bring that to you, Milan. Gideon, Titi Lokwe said, Nigeria is never going to support you because if they support your cessation, then we have a group here who have been screaming for cessation. What does that say? And Atom, the collectiveness, 30 seconds each. I don't even have that. Right, let me come to you first, Lillian, quickly.
Quick one. I think the both are linked. Joining Nigeria, the handicap of Nigeria in our issue. We understand that we already have a relationship in Nigeria in the past. Our people will not agree to join Nigeria.
Okay.
I think that is stated. It's never going to happen again.
Okay.
And this, when it comes to the passiveness of Nigeria, I think somebody answered it. Nigeria is also handicapped by the fact that there is an issue of separation on the other side that Cameroon can easily exploit, which we need to think about all the time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I think basically that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Gideon.
I know we don't have a lot of time.
Gideon, over to you. 30 seconds, literally.
With respect to... You mean with respect to the fact that Nigeria will not support us?
Yes. Why they can't? Why Nigeria as a country can't? Less than 30.
That question requires a lot of thinking, but a lot of details that 30 seconds will not suffice.
Okay.
I would say we've heard this many times for the most part.
Okay.
We've heard this many times for the most part that Nigeria will not be able to support us.
Because
Cameroon is not seceding from Cameroon, so to speak.
All right.
We are not. We
have to go. They're throwing me off air. We have to go. Peter, Milan, Gideon, I've got to have you both back, the three of you back, because we have to keep when is the summit? Quickly, what date?
The summit it starts on the 18th of April to the 20th.
Okay.
If we are going to have another opportunity, there will be the civil society caucus present.
Excellent.
We need to get their voices on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate the conversation, and as you can see, the lines are still going. So do Nigerians and my listeners from the diaspora. Take care. Have a fabulous weekend, gentlemen, and good luck